When you can't stop thinking about someone, even when you wish to forget them, it's not just a coincidence. According to Carl Jung, these recurring thoughts are not random but signals from the unconscious, indicating that there is an unresolved psychological connection between you and that person. The unconscious is not only a storage place for memories, but also a space that holds intense, unresolved emotions, unfinished relationships, or unresolved experiences. If someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, it might be because you haven't fully processed the emotions associated with them. Emotions like love, regret, or even resentment still persist in the unconscious and continue to influence your behavior and thoughts. These recurring thoughts may not appear because that person is important in your past, but because you haven't learned to resolve the unfinished issues within your soul. This feeling is not just nostalgia, but a call to explore and address the unresolved emotions that your unconscious is holding onto. According to Carl Jung, the people who occupy our thoughts are not just those who pass through our lives but also represent aspects of ourselves that have yet to be explored in our minds. When someone dominates your thoughts, it's not just about them, but about what they represent within your unconscious. Jung explained that each person in our life can embody a psychological archetype, reflecting parts of ourselves that we haven't fully recognized or processed. For example, a person may appear in your thoughts because they symbolize the confidence you desire but have yet to develop. They might serve as a mirror, reflecting a part of yourself that you have not completely accepted or fully explored. Their constant presence in your thoughts might indicate that you are overlooking or haven't fully understood the emotions and desires that remain unexpressed within you. Jung believed that our thoughts about others are often a form of psychological projection, where we project our unresolved aspects onto others. This can cause frustration or disappointment when the person doesn't meet the expectations we have placed on them. The truth, however, is that these individuals are not the main reason for how you feel. It is the unrecognized parts of yourself that are playing out in the form of projections. Through awareness and acceptance of these unfinished aspects of ourselves, we can release ourselves from obsessive thoughts and move closer to psychological maturity. Understanding that the people who occupy your thoughts are not just individuals but psychological archetypes within you helps you understand and resolve the inner conflicts that need attention. According to Carl Jung, one of the reasons why someone may always occupy your thoughts is because they may reflect parts of yourself that have yet to be recognized. Jung believed that when we have strong feelings towards someone, whether love or resentment, it is often a reflection of things that have not yet been explored within us. For example, if you constantly think about someone who seems confident, it may be because you lack confidence and wish to develop it in yourself. This feeling is not about them but about something you are missing in yourself. Strong attraction or even resentment towards someone may not be about them but about you. Jung referred to this as the phenomenon of projection, where we unconsciously attribute our own emotions or characteristics to others. The emotions we cannot accept or recognize in ourselves get projected onto others. This happens because we are not yet ready to face and accept those parts of ourselves that we deem as weaknesses or unfinished. So how can we resolve this issue? Jung believed that by recognizing these psychological archetypes, we can begin the process of self-development and integrate the rejected parts of ourselves. When you realize that your feelings towards someone are really about you, you can embark on a journey of psychological liberation, becoming stronger and gaining a deeper understanding of yourself. This is when you can free yourself from obsession and experience freedom with a more complete and powerful soul. Carl Jung explained that the people who frequently appear in your mind are not simply individuals from the past. They can be deeper psychological archetypes within you, representing parts of yourself that you have not yet recognized. According to Jung, these people are not just specific images, but they represent qualities, desires, or unresolved pain within you. For instance, if you constantly think about someone you admire for their confidence, it might be because you lack confidence in yourself, and that person is simply a symbol of what you long for. These connections are not random, but rather messages from your unconscious, urging you to reflect on aspects of yourself that have not been accepted. When feelings about someone become intense, it is a clear sign that there is something within you that remains unresolved. Jung called this projection, where you unconsciously attribute to others qualities or emotions that you cannot face in yourself. These feelings may represent things you have not yet recognized or accepted about yourself. Facing and recognizing these parts will help you grow. creating inner harmony and reducing obsessive thoughts about others. Jung emphasized that recognizing these individuals is not just about other people, but a part of your self-development process. Only when you understand this and begin to look within yourself can you embark on a journey of integrating these unrecognized parts, instead of allowing them to occupy your mind unconsciously. When Carl Jung spoke about projection, he emphasized that the people who frequently occupy our minds are not random, but rather a part of ourselves that has not yet been recognized. Our unconscious mind has the ability to project qualities, emotions, or fears that we cannot face onto others. This can happen when we feel an intense attraction towards someone without understanding why, or when we experience anger and can't explain the reason. Jung believed that such strong reactions are not about the other person, but about ourselves. For instance, if you find yourself admiring someone for their confidence, this might reflect a deep desire within you to develop that same confidence in yourself. On the other hand, if you feel an irrational dislike for someone, it could be because that person represents a part of you that you are avoiding or unwilling to accept. This happens because unresolved emotions from the past or aspects of your personality that haven't been integrated yet are projected onto someone else. Jung believed that by becoming aware of what we are projecting onto others, we can begin the process of integrating these aspects into ourselves, thus understanding the lessons others bring to us. This helps create inner harmony, reduce tension, and open the path for deeper self-development. Therefore, the people who occupy our minds are not just random. They may carry important messages about recognizing and developing the unexplored parts of ourselves. Carl Jung believed that the people who occupy our minds are not random. When we can't stop thinking about someone, it might be a signal from our unconscious, showing that there is a deep psychological connection between us and that person. The mind is not just a machine that processes information, it is where memories, emotions, and unresolved relationships reside. People who frequently appear in our thoughts may represent an incomplete part of ourselves, or they may reflect unresolved emotions and lessons that we have not yet faced. Jung called this phenomenon projection. When a person dominates our thoughts, it may be because they reflect an aspect of ourselves that we cannot or do not want to face. For example, if you can't stop thinking about someone who is very confident, it may be because they embody something that you are lacking in yourself, self-confidence. This feeling may make you realize that you also desire to develop those qualities, but you may not be fully aware of them. In reality, the people we idealize or dislike can serve as mirrors for the people we admire. They may express a quality that we are lacking or wish to have within ourselves. Conversely, people we find irritating may reflect an aspect of ourselves that we are unwilling to accept or acknowledge. For example, if you have a strong dislike for someone because of a minor action, it could be because you cannot accept or recognize a similar trait in yourself. Jung believed that all of us have a shadow within us. This shadow consists of qualities, emotions, and desires that society or our upbringing has taught us to suppress or deny. These parts of us are often repressed and not integrated into the self. However, they do not disappear, they remain in the form of our shadow, sometimes causing us to encounter issues in relationships or feelings of insecurity in life. When we understand how the mind projects these shadow parts onto others, we can begin to recognize the lessons they bring to us. It is not only about how we view others but also about self-awareness. When we face our own shadows, this integration helps us not only grow as individuals but also create healthier relationships with those around us. Thus, Jung taught that understanding and accepting what we are projecting onto others can be the first step in addressing psychological issues. This process not only personalizes our experiences but also creates inner harmony, opening up the path for us to live a freer, more fulfilling life. Carl Jung believed that the people who constantly occupy our thoughts are not random. According to him, these thoughts could be signals from our unconscious, indicating a deep psychological connection with that person. These individuals are not just simple memories, they carry messages that the unconscious mind wants to convey. Sometimes, thinking about someone is not because they hold a special role in our life, but because they bring a lesson or emotion that we have not processed yet. Jung referred to this phenomenon as projection. When a person dominates our thoughts, it may be because they reflect an aspect of ourselves that we are not ready to face. For example, if you often think about someone who is very confident, it could be because that person reflects what you are missing: self-confidence. These emotions are not always consciously recognized, but they are signs showing that you long to develop these traits within yourself. Moreover, Jung also believed that we have a shadow part within our psyche. This shadow consists of emotions, desires, and characteristics that society has taught us to suppress, and they continue to exist in the form of the shadow, sometimes causing us to encounter life issues that we cannot explain. The people we think about the most are sometimes those who reflect these shadow parts. They are not just individuals but images that mirror aspects not yet integrated into ourselves. Jung also suggested that being aware of these projections can help us grow. When we understand that someone is a reflection of an unacknowledged part of ourselves, we can begin the journey of confronting these unrefined parts. This not only helps us become more harmonious with ourselves but also creates healthier relationships because we no longer place excessive expectations or pressure on others. In conclusion, the people who occupy our minds are not there by chance. They may be reflections of unresolved parts of ourselves. Becoming aware of this can help us understand ourselves better, resolve deep-seated issues, and create more authentic and meaningful relationships. In Carl Jung's psychological journey, the concept of synchronicity plays an important role. Jung believed that life doesn't unfold randomly but that there is an invisible connection between events, people, and our emotions, connections that we may not easily explain but can feel. When events or people unexpectedly enter our lives, Jung suggested that it is not a coincidence, but rather signals from the unconscious, reflecting deep psychological connections. These signs may appear when we are stressed or when we are seeking answers to an issue in our lives. These events are like messages from the universe, offering new perspectives to help us understand ourselves and our relationships better. Jung did not just view synchronicity as random events but as manifestations of underlying connections that help us uncover aspects of ourselves that we have yet to explore. When you meet someone or experience an event that feels particularly meaningful to you, Jung advised that you should pause and reflect on it. This synchronicity could be a sign of a personal process unfolding within you, a shift in the way you perceive and feel about yourself. This not only helps us become more aware of our relationships but also helps us adjust the way we live and interact with the world. Jung believed that moments of synchronicity could lead to major turning points in our lives. They are not just coincidences but potential opportunities for us to face unresolved matters within, ultimately leading to personal growth and progress. Synchronicity is not about luck, but about recognizing important signs that help us move forward in life. Carl Jung, a renowned psychologist, developed the concept of individuation, a process of self-discovery and personal development in which an individual becomes more aware of their true nature and integrates the unrecognized elements of their mind into a more complete person. This process is not only about discovering one's values and goals but also about accepting and integrating the aspects that we often avoid. Jung referred to these aspects as the shadow, the part of the self that we reject or are unaware of, qualities that society or we do not want to acknowledge. Jung believed that understanding and integrating the shadow is crucial in the individuation process. When we refuse to face the shadow aspects of our minds, we cannot fully develop. We may act in the most natural and simple way, but lack the depth and self-awareness necessary to become a whole person. Integrating the shadow helps us not only recognize the unacknowledged parts of ourselves but also opens up the potential for change and growth. Jung also pointed out that the refusal to accept the shadow is the reason many people get stuck in negative emotions and behaviors, leading to the repetition of unwanted patterns in life. The individuation process is not easy. It requires perseverance, self-reflection, and self-acceptance, but when successful, it not only makes us stronger but also gives us the ability to create a meaningful life. Carl Jung also pointed out that the process of individuation is not only about confronting the hidden aspects of the self but also about developing the ability to perceive life through a more positive and profound lens. One of the key elements in this process is the ability to understand and acknowledge our relationships and connections with others. Jung believed that relationships are not merely interactions between individuals but are also ways through which we reflect unrecognized parts of ourselves. Every person we encounter can act as a mirror for aspects of our inner world that are still unexplored, qualities we may not accept or even recognize. This process requires us not only to observe others but also to look back at ourselves. To become aware of the things that are unfinished or the parts we are reluctant to confront. Jung argued that the most meaningful relationships are those where we realize that the person we are loving or strongly reacting to is actually a reflection of ourselves. A way to better understand what we are missing or searching for. This creates an internal transformation where we gradually accept the incomplete parts of ourselves and open up the path to becoming a more complete version of who we truly are. An important message from Carl Jung is that the process of individuation is not only about confronting the unconscious parts of ourselves, but also about understanding and accepting the relationships around us as mirrors of our own being. The people we meet in life may not just be other individuals, but reflections of ourselves, parts that we haven't recognized or explored. Every profound relationship we have, whether it's with friends, partners, or colleagues, can help us identify and understand the undeveloped aspects of ourselves. Therefore, rather than merely seeing others as they are, we should view them as opportunities to reflect on ourselves, uncover the things we haven't accepted, and gradually transform into better versions of ourselves. This process not only helps us grow in self-awareness but also opens a door to greater maturity and lasting happiness in life.